No matter what he did, Reuben could not shake the sense of foreboding that engulfed him from the moment he received the summons. The imminent death of his father meant that his time to make amends had run out. He had tried for years, but could never find a way to atone for his transgressions. No amount of currying favor could offset the weight of his offenses on the scale of memory. Nothing he could do could tip the balance in his favor. Looking at the grim expressions on most of his waiting brothers told him they had come to the same conclusion about themselves. No one spoke. Even Benjamin, who had nothing to fear and was therefore largely oblivious to the dark thoughts that occupied his brothers. When the young boy they called Dishan ran breathlessly past them, the waiting men knew the last of their number would soon arrive. The cloud of dust on the horizon could have meant many things, but the rolling wave of silence heralded the progress of the royal procession more surely than Pharaoh's trumpets. In the midst of harvest, only one thing could stop the songs that paced the farm workers as they cut, stacked, and shocked the grain. Only the passage of the royal guard could silence weary but joyful workers, cause them to cast down their sickles, their bundles of grain, and prompt them to prostrate themselves toward the road. "Ahmos! Ahmos!" Dishan cried as he approached the door of the mud-brick house, ignoring the shushing sounds of the veiled women gathered on rough benches outside the door. No one remembered whether the urchin's name, Dishan, which meant a threshing, described his constant agitation or the discipline he sometimes received because of his inability to remain still for any length of time. The sudden appearance of the chief steward in the house's doorway with an upheld hand calmed Dishan momentarily, so that he paused and declared, in a whisper that would etch glass, "He comes, Amos. The Great One comes." Amos, for that was the chief steward's real name, not the pagan Ahmos the Egyptian boy called him, nodded at the boy and glanced over at the waiting men. "Go tend your goats," one of the women on the benches called out to Dishan. She shook her head in frustration when the boy raced back up the road, and the brothers laughed, a little too hard, perhaps. "The Great One," snorted Gad. "That says it all, doesn't it?" Joseph, the 11th of 12 sons, yet favored above all others. Joseph had truly been the Great One since birth in his father's eyes. Great dreams, great betrayal, and now great power. Would the impending death of their father tempt him to wield that power for vengeance? Gad spoke what they all were thinking. "We may not outlive father by much." Torn is available at Amazon.com or at your local Adventist bookcenter.